Now then, busy day yesterday. So yesterday I travelled all the way over to Bury St Edmunds and collected my new van that I've been waiting for quite a while. I had a Transit Custom before and it was a great van. A little bit small for track days. It towed fine, but when you've got all your tyres, your bloody gazebos, your jerry cans, all the rest, it was quite tight. I like to have, I always like the idea of having somewhere to like shelter, somewhere dry, stand up straight, have all your toolboxes just in, so it's just nice and easy. You don't have to pack any certain boxes to go to a track day, you can just take the whole lot. So I bought myself a long wheelbase, high top Citroen Relay, which I'm really chuffed with. So today we're going to get on with fitting the tow bar to this. Also, while I was out down the other end of the country, I travelled across to Coventry and I picked up my my forged RB25. So that's been done by MGT Motorsport. That's been waiting for a few weeks, so I thought while I was out and I had a van, I'd go collect it. So I went and collected that, got back last night. So today I'm hoping to get the tow bar fitted to the van, also get the engine and box into the car and all the front end back plugged up again. Now I think the engine will come out again, but for the time being it go in, we get everything boxed up. Then the next step is we need to take it across to Dan Drake's work to fabricate some new intercooler piping and modify the downpipe. Once that's done, I can then wire it all up, put fluids in it, start it over, make sure it idles okay, no leaks, and then it'll go back down to MGT for mapping. So yeah, next step, obviously get the engine in, as I said, get it across to him, get the pipes made, and get it all plumbed in and proper. So we'll do some time lapse and some video bits today. So I started building some bits up. First bits I've done is I forgot to put all new studs in this side, so I've had to remove a load of studs from that head over there, put them into here. I've put on my oil fitting ready. Next thing will be the manifold. Also got on my cast bracket and my cast and my cover. Bought a load of nice new hardware, a load of stainless steel Allen cap heads, and they seem to be tidying it all up quite a bit, instead of having all random odd bolts. So yeah, next thing will be turbo and manifold. So sorry, it's a bit noisy. So we've got the intake manifold on, my oil remote reservoir thing, alternator, power steering pump is all on, covers are all on, manifolds on, turbo's just on loosely for the time being. So I'll whip this off the stand now and then get the gearbox on with its new hardware and throw it in the car. Also apologies, this video is a bit all over the place. Doing this wiring harness was a bit more time consuming than what I thought. The physical labelling up the wires and chopping it wasn't too bad. Doing the crimps was quite tricky. Very small, very fiddly. It's quite hard to see the numbers, so obviously you want to make sure that your wires are matching up on the same numbers on both sides. So it took quite a bit of time. And then also testing it. When I was trying to test the harness, I was trying to meter out from the plugs to one end of the bulkhead connector and then from the other bulkhead connector to the ECU side. Turns out the wiring diagram that Wiring Specialties provide with the harness isn't quite correct. The colours seem to be correct to what they do, but not to what sockets they actually, not to what pins they actually go to in each socket. So that took a lot of time, and I ended up sacking that off in the end and just joined the two bulkhead connectors together and pin to pinning it just from the cores of the wire, sticking the multimeter in the back of the multi-pin connector, just to make sure, because I've changed nothing else all I've effectively done is label both sides of a cable, chopped it in half, and then joined it again. I just want to make sure that my join is correct. So I'll show you the bits that I've come to. Obviously the engine's back now. They was meant to have all this done before the engine. So I was meant to get this video out before the engine was back and sorted. So I'm in the middle of like 2 videos at the moment, which is a bit of a nightmare. So this is the engine harness on the engine. I've got to say, it does fit better than it ever has. Normally, I fit this harness on in the car because it's got a massive ECU plug on it and you don't want to get it damaged or whatnot. So because of the inlet manifold on the RB25, it's a pain in the arse to get to the plugs underneath and all the plumbing and wiring. So being able to put the harness on with the engine outside of the car has been a bit of a game changer. Just small things like being able to route things a little bit better. It's just a lot neater, a lot easier to get to. You know that all your plugs are plugged in correctly. Nothing's hanging out, nothing's damaged. So I'm really, really happy with that, to be honest. It has made it worth the effort. And then, I know this looks a little bit crude. I've taken all the masking tape off and I've label printed each one. So what the actual plug is, and what multi-pin pin is, and what ECU pin it is. So it does look a bit messy. I could have probably sleeved this a bit higher, but you're not going to see it anyway. And in terms of problem solving or fault finding, if I have an issue, I'd rather have a bit more space to play with it. Also, the tighter, because they're all going in together and there's very little crimp area on the actual pins, I didn't want to get too close with the sheathing, because if you were to bend the plug, there's no movement for the wire. You're going to start putting a lot of strain on some of the pins. So obviously the longer these strands are, the more flexibility I have in the plug. So it does look a bit messy. But if I have an issue, it'd be much easier to work out. And obviously I've done this on the other side of the other bulkhead connector as well. So worst case scenario, God forbid, I have an issue, I could pull 2 of the pins out, chop block them together, and that should give me a full circuit again. So that's the engine harness, that's waiting, ready to go in. And then this is the other side of it. I need to do a bit more tidying up. So that's the bulkhead connector fitted up, which I'm really happy with. It's really nice and neat. I'm building a heat shield at the moment, which will come up and over that, because the last thing I want is this thing to melt or get damaged or whatnot. So yeah, that's the wiring harness. Next job, I'm literally waiting for some Hell Performance braided oil and coolant lines. The engine can go in, we can plug that bulkhead connector in, and we should be able to get it started. Now then, so I just thought I'd fill you all in. So yesterday we put the engine into the car. It took a bit longer than what I hoped. It was quite a long day yesterday. I sort of underestimated how long it takes to put that together. Bearing in mind it was like a bare block, nothing in it, no exhaust studs, no inlet studs, nothing like that. So it took a bit of time to make it all right and find all the bits and stuff. Also, I've replaced a load of the hardware for new like cap heads to make it nice and easy instead of all the janky old like odd sized nuts and bolts. So it took a long time yesterday. Once we did that, I had to fit a tow bar to this van, and then I had to wire the electrics for this van, load it all up, and it's all on the back, and we're driving to pick Dan up. We're heading over to Dan's work today to make some new boost pipes for it and adjust the downpipe. Sort of came to a conclusion a few days ago that obviously it's all very well getting the engine in and wired in and stuff, but I can't start it or test for any leaks or anything until the boost pipes and the exhaust pipes are on, otherwise it won't run very well. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over there today. We're either going to make them all fully or mock them all up, I'm not sure, and then we are going to bring it back. And then what the plan will be after that is we'll take the engine out again. I want to fit the wiring harness to it outside the car. I've got to measure up and get some new turbo oil lines and water lines made as well, which will all be easier outside the car. Once that's all back and it's all sorted, I'll bolt it all up, throw it in the car, we should be able to start it, get it all up to temperature, make sure it runs properly, and then yeah, to book it for mapping. So yeah, I'll try and get some time lapses and some bits and pieces today, just to sort of show what we're doing. Dan normally makes trolleys and like custom bits of machinery. So it's a bit different when we do stuff like this. It might not be the most efficient of ways to do it, but we quite enjoy giving it a go. We did all of the old boost pipes for the old turbo setup, and they were great. That's stainless, they look really nice. So yeah, we'll give it another go today. I'll try and get some videos as we go. So we're at Dan's workshop. We've just got we've towed the car in with the forklift. Tried to time lapse it, but I think the GoPro's died. So one thing we noticed with this new turbo is, I thought this was a slightly smaller turbo than the whole set, to be honest, but it was sort of obstructing on the strut tower. I've seen a few people's videos, they have had to do a bit of massaging. So what we've done is we've just hammered away at the arch a little bit. 1 second. So just hammered away. That looks a bit crude, just to crack the paint. What we'll do is we'll sand that off. Once we're all sorted, we'll primer it, and it'll have all new gold tape over it anyway. But that's allowed the turbo to go back on, and so we can clock it, and it shouldn't rub now. So that's good. That's the first job done for the day. Sorry, first job done for today. Next one is making this downpipe fit. So this. The Garrett's 3-inch on the exhaust side, and this current downpipe is 3-inch that's reduced to 2-inch for the whole set. So we're going to chop it, extend it, job's a good one. And the last thing we need to do is just do some intercooler piping. So obviously from each side of the intercooler up to the throttle body and up to the compressor side of the turbo. Yeah, let's see how we get on. So we've got one side near enough knocked up. Dan's just tack welding these bits into place. Then we'll double check him again, and then he's going to purge one end and he'll weld them up fully. So we've just finished these boost pipes. We haven't got any couplers here for now. We've tacked them up though, all the pipes. So we've got a nice tight connection there, and then that's going to go to a 2-inch to 3-inch 90-degree silicon coupler, which should be nice. We've gone 3-inch now instead of 2-inch or 2.5, can't remember. And then this side again, nice and tight on the intercooler. No sort of steep, sharp bends, and straight into the throttle body. So well happy with them. They're nice and stainless as well. So once he's welding them up, they'll look nice and pretty. So the next thing we need to do is this is where the exhaust goes from 3-inch to 2.5. We'll probably chop around here, and then just put a bit of straight section to the new flange. Job's a good one. It's a bit of a ghetto, so don't judge. So we've marked on the manifold where we need to, we're going to chop here, and then obviously just do a straight bit of pipe to the new flange. To get the downpipe off, I need to unbolt it. We haven't got a lift here, so lift it with the forklift. Got some wheels under it, and I'll just scoot under there and unbolt it and get it out so we can weld it up. Today could be an exciting day. The engine could go into the car, and we could start for the first time, hopefully, fingers going crossed. I've been waiting for some new lines to come from Hell Performance. I ordered them and there's some fitting slightly wrong, so they've corrected those. I'm going to try them on first. If they do fit, then that is all good. Engine can go in, get it all plumbed up, and we can get it running, ready to go to the dyno. I'm trying to blag my way onto a dyno session next week, maybe the week after, because I'm booked on Teesside for Easter Monday, I think, or Easter, I can't remember when it is, somewhere around Easter. So the plan is to try and get it run up as soon as possible, get it to temperature, make sure everything's good, sort any leaks, and then we can take it back down to MGT for mapping. So fingers crossed it all goes well, these lines fit and we can stick it in. I could have put the engine in before, but I didn't see the point in struggling. While it's out, it's way easier to get the turbo lines on, make sure everything's all nipped up and stuff. So yeah, thought I'd do that. So it's on the stand ready to go. I'll give them a test. In that box there. Clean up the engine base, sort of ready. Literally slap these lines on, throw it in. See how we do as a one-man mission today, see if we can get it done. So we're off to a good start. The turbo lines fit. Hell Performance have done a great job with that. I sent them back Friday afternoon and they arrived today, all sorted. So not the neatest. First time I've had a water-cooled turbo, well, since standard, to be honest. I don't really remember them. So I've routed it the best I can. All the lines I got made slightly longer, so that obviously nothing is physically touching the manifold. And it's all sort of routed fairly nicely. I put some cable ties on to stop anything rattling around. I've got a bit of a history of melting oil lines, water lines and whatnot. and then this one just comes around and goes under there. So I think I'm about there, to be honest. Pretty chuffed with that. Oil lines all fit. They were the only thing holding us up. So yeah, I'll just bit of a one-man mission, see if I can get this in and all wired up, oil in it, see if we can get it started today. Fingers crossed. Well, hey, so it's in. I mean, it's literally thrown in. So I'll get the engine mounts tightened up now, and I'll get the box hiked up, and that should let everything sit where it should, where it's going to sit permanently. So I'll do that now, and I'll come back. So we're getting cracked on. It's all in and plumbed up. On top, I just need to do some sensors and a few lines at the bottom. Once I've done that, front end on, which is a couple of bolts, fill it with oil, see if anything leaks out, and then yeah, we're good to go. Hi all, it's the next day now. It's bloody cold and wet today here in Yorkshire. Got the car started last night, forgot to video, got a bit carried away with that. Not quite buttoned up, need to put the radiator in and stuff, but I did enough just to get it started, and it started sweet as a nut. So I'm going to clear up all of this mess, clear all this mess up, and then get the radiator fitted, get some coolant in it, check the oil, put some power steering fluid in it, and then we'll get it started again and run it up to temperature. You see the new turbo's sitting nicely in place. Looks like it should have always been there, to be honest, and everything sort of routed everything as neat as I can for now, I think. So yeah, looking good. I'll jump back once it's started. Yep. Hi all, welcome back. I thought I'd catch up with you a few weeks later from doing the engine harness and let you know how we got on and if there was any issues. So we got we finished the harness, we put it into the car, we got the engine back, and then also the engine has been to mapping and come back. So I just thought I'd just sort of show you what it's looking like. So we've got it in. I'm really glad that I extended my CAS wiring and my alternator so much better, and I'll tell you what, fitting this engine harness on the engine outside of the car was a game changer. It's an absolute pig underneath this inlet with water pipes and just routing all the wires correctly. It was so much easier to get it all nice and neat, and nothing rubbing or anything that spins or gets hot. It was great. So I just need to do a bit of tidying up where it runs across the back, and you'll see where it goes into the bulkhead. Now this looks a little bit messy, and I can appreciate it's next to an exhaust. We've had no issues with it during the dyno or anything, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a heat shield which sort of just sits like this. The exhaust is fully wrapped. I just need to wrap this top bit of the downpipe. The screen was all wrapped, and I'm also going to get a little heat shield, one of the Funk Motorsport heat shields for the wastegate. But I think a metal sort of heat shield, or even some like the like folded metal stuff you see underneath the cars for back boxes and stuff. Something here, just covering this wire just to keep the general heat off it, should do the job. Because it looks, one, just to protect it, but two, it just looks a little bit messy with all these labelled flags. But yeah, it's all good. We've had no errors with it. It works. Everything's worked straight away. It's worked on the dyno. All the sensors work. So I'm pretty impressed with that, to be honest. Time will tell if anything rattles loose or comes out, but I'm pretty impressed with it. You just got to be really careful. Obviously, all those wires are going into that plug. Just got to be careful not to rag the cable around or the joint, because it is a lot of pressure on those tiny crimps inside. But overall, I think that's a good success. So yeah, I hope if any of you are going to give that a go, fair play. It's I think it is worth it. Takes a bit of time, a bit of concentration. I don't think it's massively durable, but I mean, this will just stay in here now. Touch wood, I don't plan to have the engine out anytime soon. Sort of staying there for the foreseeable. And if I ever do pull it out, I'll just be really careful with it. The key is obviously when you're pulling the engine out, make sure that isn't dangling down on the floor or get caught to anything. I just tucks it up by the coil packs underneath where the engine crane picks it up, so it's nice and safe. Anyway, I hope you find that relatively helpful-ish. It's not a tutorial, it's just sort of me showing my journey and getting it done. So there we go. In 2 weeks' time, the four of us will be going to Teesside, so that's exciting. And we'll try and film some videos there as well. Cool. Cheers, thanks for watching.